She was screaming when they found her. Not the scream of a woman afraid, but of a woman being unmade. Adwoa Serwaa stood at the lip of the mine, her white cloth drenched red, her hands trembling over the void beneath. Below her, deep in the throat of the earth, 40 miners knelt in concentric circles on a cavern floor that pulsed with dim red luminescence. They spoke together, in one voice from 40 mouths, in a language that had no country, no century, no throat designed to shape it. The torchlight bent toward their words, as if flame itself were listening, and from below all of them, from beneath the stone itself, came a sound. Wet, tectonic, patient, like a continent turning over in its sleep. But to understand how Adwoa Serwaa ended here, at the edge of something older than worship, we need to go back 72 hours. The city of Bono breathed gold. In the year 1462, it sat at the crossroads of salt and ore, a jewel of the Akan forest savanna, where traders from Jenne mingled with goldsmiths whose craft was older than memory. Adwoa Serwaa moved through its rhythms, the way water moves through clay. Quietly, certainly, touching everything. She was Okomfo, priestess, herbalist, the woman you called, when fever would not answer to bark tea and the spirits needed speaking to. She served the court of Nana Boateng, and the court trusted her the way one trusts the ground, completely, without thinking. That trust shattered on a Tuesday, when the king's youngest son stopped breathing in the language of men. The boy, Kwame, 6 harvests old, bright as a struck bell, had collapsed in the courtyard at midday. By evening, his fever burned past every remedy Adwoa knew. But the fever was not what frightened her. What frightened her was his mouth. Kwame whispered without pause, syllables tumbling from his lips like water from a cracked vessel, but in no language any elder recognized. Not Akan, not the Arabic of the northern traders, something older, something that made the oil lamp gutter when he spoke, as if the flame were flinching. Adwoa pressed her ear close to the boy's lips and listened, and for a single, terrible moment she understood, not the words but the direction they came from. They rose from somewhere beneath him, beneath the bed, beneath the floor, beneath the city itself. Something underground was using the child's mouth to speak. By the second day, Adwoa had her answer, and wished she did not. The miners who worked the gold veins east of the city walls had breached something new 3 weeks prior. Not gold, not iron. A stratum of deep arterial red, smooth as polished bone, warm to the touch even in the coolest hours before dawn. Osei, the head miner, told Adwoa everything while refusing to meet her eyes. The men who had handled the red ore longest were no longer sleeping properly. At night, they rose from their mats and walked, slowly, silently, barefoot through the city, toward the mine shaft. Always toward the mine shaft. Their wives would find them standing at the entrance in the cold hours, murmuring that same language, palms pressed flat against the red stone. Osei confessed one thing more. When he had pressed his own palm to the red vein deep in the shaft, he had felt it pulse. Not like stone settling, like something breathing. Adwoa knew then what she had to do. She had to go down. She gathered what the old rituals demanded: white chalk for boundaries, palm wine for appeasement, her voice for the binding songs her grandmother had taught her. The descent was narrow and steep. Torchlight licked the walls, and where it touched the red veins in the rock, the light turned the color of old blood. The air thickened. It tasted of copper and something sweeter. The sweetness of fruit left too long in the sun. Halfway down, her torch went still. No flicker, no dance. The flames stood perfectly upright, as if the air itself had stopped moving, as if the earth were holding its breath. For a long moment, there was silence. She almost turned back. Then Kwame's voice drifted up from below. The boy's exact voice, his exact laughter, echoing from a depth no 6-year-old child could have reached. She descended. The shaft opened into a cavern vast enough to swallow the palace whole, and the floor was not stone. It was a surface, smooth, continuous, red as the inside of a living wound. It breathed. Adwoa felt it before she understood it. The way you feel the ocean before you see it, a presence so enormous it registers first as weather. This was not a spirit trapped beneath the earth. This was the earth. A consciousness woven into the mineral strata of the planet itself. Older than bone, older than water, older than the concept of alive. She began the binding chant. Her grandmother's words, the oldest words she knew. She drew the chalk circle. She poured the palm wine. She sang with everything her lineage had given her, and the surface below her rippled, not in pain, not in anger, the way a sleeper ripples when a fly lands on skin. She was nothing to it. Her oldest rituals were nothing to it. Then it noticed her. Imagine standing in an open field when the sky looks down, not the sun, the sky itself, the entire weight of everything above you, suddenly aware. That was what Adwoa felt. Knowledge poured into her. Not words, not images, but raw comprehension, a flood of understanding that the human mind was never built to hold. She saw the red veins reaching beneath continents. She saw an ocean she had no name for. She saw centuries folding forward like cloth, and people she would never meet finding this same surface, hearing this same impossible hum. Then the red soil beneath her began to climb. It crept up her ankles, her shins, warm, not consuming, embracing. It wanted her to stay. It wanted her to understand. Adwoa screamed. The sound tore from her throat as though something were reaching up through her body and pulling it out. Her voice, her breath, her name. This was the scene from the mind's edge. This was the moment. But now you know what stood beneath her, and the scream carries a weight it did not carry before. She did not defeat it. You do not defeat the ground you stand on, but she pulled free by the only force stronger than comprehension, the refusal to be understood completely. Adwoa sealed the mine at dawn. She cut her palm and let the blood fall on the sealed stones, an offering and a lock in one gesture. She spoke the prohibition in a voice scraped raw, that no one, for any reason, under any king, must ever dig here again. Into the largest stone, she carved a symbol she had never been taught, but now could not forget. 3 concentric circles, split by a single vertical line. The city built a shrine over the sealed entrance. Within a generation, the prohibition became law. Within 3, it became myth. The boy recovered. And Adwoa Serwaa never spoke of what she had seen below, because some knowledge weighs so much that sharing it would break the person who received it. But here is what she could not seal. Beneath the city, beneath the shrine, beneath the prohibition and the prayers and the forgetting, the red soil had already bled outward. Its veins, silent, patient, warm, stretched beneath every home, every market stall, every sleeping child. And far away, across an ocean Adwoa had never seen, in soil she would never touch, a crack opened. The same red glow rose from the wound, and something beneath both continents turned, slowly, in its sleep. It was patient. It had nowhere to be. It had been here before the word here had meaning. And now, it was awake.